My name is Mike Hurley. I'm Mayor of the City of Burnaby. I'm pleased to join you again today to answer your questions related to the COVID-19 situation we're dealing here in our city. And I know many of you have sent in questions through our social media sites and some other areas, or through our website and through our email systems. So I'm here to answer some of those questions today, and I know we'll get other questions being asked as we move through. And if we have enough time, hopefully we can get to most of those questions as well. Before we start, I just want to remind everyone the advice we're receiving from our health professionals who are doing such a great job on our behalf. And that the most important thing we can do is, if at all possible, to stay home, wash your hands, practice physical distancing, and limit trips to only essential trips if you have to do them. But I think the most important thing that we really need to observe right now is to be kind and be thoughtful of the stress that many people are going through at this time, and try to remain kind and calm. So across British Columbia, we're seeing great gains being made in this fight against COVID-19, and that's down to the effort that so many of you have made to ensure we're doing the right things, the things that I've just mentioned. But it can all go wrong if we don't continue to do it and continue to double down on the efforts we have made. And I thank everyone here in Burnaby, the businesses, our nonprofits, and our residents for the great work you have been doing, for the great majority of us that we're making all these efforts to ensure we can get through this COVID-19 pandemic together. And thank you for those efforts. Moving on to some questions, and the first one here is about property tax from a resident email to COVID-19. And the question is, because of the current situation, as a homeowner, I'm curious to know whether City of Burnaby has any intention to extend the property tax to our residents. You know, the ultimate impact of the pandemic right now is unknown, so it's impossible to estimate the financial impacts to our city. But Burnaby City Council is very aware of the challenges many of you are facing, and for that reason we're proposing moving our tax date to the end of September 31st, to align with the business tax rate that has been set out by the provincial government. So that is an opportunity. Although our tax date is actually still July 3rd, you will not have to pay any fines if you don't pay before the end of September. So those opportunities are there, although we would encourage people, if you can at all, to pay your taxes on the due date of July 3rd. So thank you so much for that question. We're also, our property tax was due to be 3.5%, and now Council is proposing that we cut that in half and move it to a 1.75% rate at this time, because we do realize how difficult it is for so many of our residents, so many of our businesses to have the financial wherewithal that they need at this particular time. So thank you for that question. And moving on to parking lot closure at Deer Lake from a resident to COVID-19. Why did you close the parking lot at Deer Lake? I am a senior with mobility challenges, and it makes it more difficult for me. We're very sorry that we have inconvenienced you and made it more difficult for you to enjoy Deer Lake. However, Deer Lake was starting to get overrun with so many people going to the park, so we had to make some moves, including making Deer Lake one way, but closing the parking lot was the key to slowing down the traffic flow at Deer Lake Park. And unfortunately, that's very unfortunate for you, but it's a move we had to make to ensure that we could keep Deer Lake open at all, because it was getting to a point where we may have had to close the park, and that was the last thing we wanted to do. The next question is rental challenges, and this is again from a resident, email to COVID-19. With all the changes, I'm finding it hard to cover rent this month. Is there anywhere I can get help? Yes, we understand that these are challenging times, and Burnaby City Council has set aside a sum of money to be used for a rent bank, and that rent bank is being managed by Purpose Society. So if you're having an issue and not able to pay your rent, please contact Purpose Society and get your name in the line to be able to use those funds to manage your rent. And also, the province has a rental supplement available to you as well. It's a $500 supplement, so go on the province's website and hopefully you can find some help there as well. So thank you for that question. BC Housing, by the way, is managing that supplement on behalf of the province. So if you want that $500 assistance, please contact BC Housing as well. Thank you. So the next question is physical distancing, and it's from a resident email to COVID-19. We are being told to physical distance, but my neighbors in the unit next door have visitors or parties every weekend. What can you do about this? Well, we have really done a lot of education around the importance of physical distancing. So if you're having an issue within your apartment, you need to talk to your management within the apartment block to ensure that they can go talk to these residents and remind them of the importance of physical distancing as laid out by our healthcare professionals. Right now, the city is really focused on promoting these physical distancing ideas, and we have done much education around that very thing. So you can also speak directly to your strata council if you have a strata council in your building, and to try and have them deal with the issue if there are parties going on or physical distancing isn't being observed in your residence, in your apartment building. So that is how you go about trying to deal with those issues. The next question is about grocery stores. Again, from a resident email to COVID-19. The grocery store I went to last weekend didn't seem to set limits on how many people could be inside. Nobody was enforcing the physical distancing. Can the city speak with this business? The BC Centre for Disease Control has provided COVID-19 guidelines for all grocery stores, and they recommend that all retailers follow these directions. Although many businesses have set up those guidelines and run them very strictly, there are others that don't. So I would, everyone needs to do their part, so I would encourage people when you go to these stores to please remind the management that they need to do their part in ensuring that physical distancing is maintained within their stores. But as of right now, the BC guidelines are very clear, and hopefully, and I know that the vast majority of stores are following those guidelines. So thank you for that. This is from a telephone call to our call center. And I'd like to plan a large event for the summer for more than 50 people. Do you know if the limit on gatherings will be lifted at the end of the May deadline? I think, although Dr. Henry's orders expire on May 30th, I think she has been very clear that these guidelines will not be lifted for large gatherings over the summer, and she's encouraging, and I encourage along with her, for people to find different ways to have large gatherings, whether that be through computerized means or some other means, but large gatherings of over 50 are not expected, and I'm sure they won't be allowed during the summer months. I just want to remind you, we're all in this together, and the importance of following Dr. Henry's orders, and that's really what has got us to the good place we're in here in BC, and now is not the time to let up. We have to ensure that we capitalize on the good work that's being done and maintain our social distancing so that we can really flatten and start bending the curve on COVID-19. So thank you for that question. And this is a question about farmers market. A resident emailed to COVID-19. What's the plan for the farmers market? The provincial health officer has deemed farmers markets as part of our food chain to be essential, and Burnaby Farmers Market will continue to be open until October 30th, under new guidelines, of course, and I'm very confident that they will follow those guidelines and ensure that proper physical distancing and safe practices are being followed within the Burnaby Farmers Market. So we look forward to enjoying the farmers market as it opens. Barbecues and picnics. This is an email from our COVID-19 line again. And with the warm weather, I'm hoping to have a physically distant barbecue or picnic in a Burnaby park. Am I allowed? Right now in Burnaby parks, barbecues are not allowed within our own system at this time, but there are two other reasons why barbecues are not allowed. Number one, it's the fire season, and all barbecues have been banned within parks for the fire season. And one other reason is for air quality. I know there has been an order from the government that barbecues are not allowed in parks due to air quality issues as well. So the answer to the barbecue question is no, they will not be allowed in the parks during the summer. School playing fields, and this is a question from resident email to COVID-19. It's come to my attention that there's an increase in number of people who are playing sports on a field at Burnaby Central. I was hoping it could be checked more frequently to make sure people aren't clumping together. School playing fields are closed, and if you see people entering these facilities, please call our call center at 604-570-3800 or email covid19@burnaby.ca. And thank you for bringing that to our attention, and I can assure you this will be brought to our staff's attention now, and they will be keeping a closer eye on that field as we move forward. So thank you for that. Many questions. Summer camp and swim lessons. I registered my child up for summer camp and swimming lessons. How do I get a refund for these programs? Well, even though our facilities, our community centers are closed, you can still contact them and get a full refund, and they're open for phone calls between 8:30 and 4:30. So if you are looking for a program refund, that's how you go about getting a full refund. But if we're still remain successful in the curve, we start to shift the curve and our health warnings are starting to look a bit better. Our plan is to keep some of these summer camps open. To what level, we don't know. It will certainly look different, but that will all depend on where the health emergency goes at this time. But we're certainly planning to have some form of summer camp in the summer. Joggers and trails, and this is from a resident email to COVID-19. I'm a walker, and when I'm out in trails, I feel uncomfortable, and joggers pass me because we can't keep a safe physical distance. Is there any way we can close trails to joggers? Well, Burnaby trails are all open, and they're open to walkers, joggers, and in some cases bikes as well. So we have done a lot of education around the importance of physical distancing, and we ask that all, including joggers, walkers, take great efforts to ensure that we're keeping our physical distance in the parks, and we'll continue to do that education process. But it's important that parks remain open for everyone, and everyone get out and enjoy our parks, but enjoy it safely while doing the right things. So thank you. reopening facilities. This is from Jay on Facebook. And when are we going to start opening things up? We can't live in a bubble forever. I think this is something that we're all feeling, and the city really looks forward to the day when we can open our parks, on our facilities fully, but that day is going to come slowly and done in the most responsible way possible, guided by our healthcare professionals and how we do that. For example, this weekend, on Friday I believe, we will be opening our golf courses again, albeit a little bit different than what people remember golf courses before, and there will be some rules around there to ensure that physical distancing is maintained. But that's the start of where we're going to start opening some of our facilities again. As I said, we're all in this together, and it's very, very important that we take this, when we do this, we do it responsibly, ensuring that the healthcare professionals' wishes are met, but that we're not undoing the great work that has been done to get us to this point already, and that has been good social distancing and following the directions of Dr. Henry, who again has done a wonderful job leading us through this crisis. And this is a similar question, so it'll be a similar answer. Public facilities, when are you opening outdoor tennis courts? And again, this will be done in a very a manner that's guided by our healthcare professionals, but also in a very responsible manner. And once we start with our golf courses, I'm sure that if things still look good at that time, we will be given every consideration to reopening our tennis courts as soon as we can, given what the healthcare professionals tell us at that point. Physical distancing, and this is from Marie on Facebook. Why are the parking lots still open at Central Park? Well, I can tell you at this time I am unaware of any complaints coming from Central Park. It's a park that I walk in a lot myself, and I have seen the parking lots there, and for the most part that I can see, they've been pretty empty, and our staff have been doing a great job of installing signage and educating people as they walk around the park to maintain good social distancing. So I don't see any reason to close those parking lots at this time, but we will continue to monitor, and if we find necessary to do that, I'm sure we will take those steps. But thank you for the question. And this is from Donald on Instagram. What are some stats on how we're doing with regards to the pandemic in Burnaby? I think the question means, do we know how many COVID-19 issues there are in Burnaby? And the answer to that is no, we don't. We do not get those numbers. Those numbers come from Fraser Health, and Fraser Health is a region that stretches from Burnaby to Boston Bar. It's a huge region. So we get the numbers for the region. 1.8 million people live in this region for Fraser Health, and in the Fraser Health region we have 879 cases. But we don't know if any of those cases are actually related to Burnaby. So thank you for that. And I have some new questions. Will the property tax on commercial real estate be adjusted? Many businesses aren't surviving and commercial space is becoming vacant. Well, to help residents and businesses, we are proposing a property tax increase of 1.75% instead of the 3.5% that was proposed earlier. So that's a big help, but the province has ordered that commercial properties won't have to pay until October 1st. So those are two of the big adjustments that are being made on commercial real estate. So we're hoping that we've taken the right moves to assist as many people as we can. And this is from One Little Bean on 888 on Instagram. When does the city anticipate reopening its aquatic centers and how to ensure the water is safe? We really understand that the swimming pools are very important for Burnaby residents, for a place to gather and stay socially connected. We will continue to follow the guidance of our healthcare professionals and our provincial health officer, and we'll reopen these amenities when it is safe to do that and when it is responsible to do that. And so again, we are all in this together, and we're making a lot of sacrifices together, but we want to be sure that when we do decide to open, that we're in the right place to open, to ensure that we continue to do everything we can to flatten the curve on this pandemic. And this is from Ryan on Instagram, and what is the status of golf? And the golf courses are scheduled to open again on Friday, although the golf courses will be operated in a different manner, and those rules will be posted on our website. And please visit there and you can see, but the plan is to reopen our golf courses on Friday. So we look forward to that, and people being able to get out and enjoy the beautiful golf courses we have here in Burnaby. So I'd just like to thank everyone for taking the time to come on here today and ask many questions. I hope I've been able to answer most of those questions clearly for you and what you have seen. But I would just like to thank everyone again for the great work that Burnaby residents have been doing. And you know, I know many people have been inconvenienced a great deal, staying home and doing the right thing, physical distancing, washing our hands, really doing all the things that Dr. Henry has asked us to do. And I would really like to pass along a special thanks to our healthcare professionals who are doing such a wonderful job in our hospital while putting themselves at harm's risk to ensure that we all stay safe. So thank you to all those people, but most of all, thanks to the Burnaby residents and businesses who truly are making a big difference as we work through this together. I would also like to give a shout out to our staff, those who work picking up garbage, those who come to work every day under great stress and make such a big difference in our city. But our staff really have stepped up to the plate to ensure that we're all working together to get through this as the great city that Burnaby is. So once again, thank you so much for joining me today on Facebook Live, and I look forward to the next day we can all get together. Thank you very much.